Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is a story that begins under the unforgiving light of truth and walks through shadows of pain, courage, and the unexpected changes life forces upon those who dare to fight for justice. She set out with nothing more than determination in her heart, a quiet fire in her eyes, and a promise to herself that she would make two men face the weight of what they had done. Her journey began in a small town where whispers ran faster than the wind, where courage was often met with ridicule, and where every step toward truth was a battle against an entire wall of silence. She knew she had no choice but to step forward because the alternative was to live in the chains of injustice forever. The path was not clean or straight, it was filled with suspicion from the very people she thought might stand by her. Still, she kept walking, chasing every lead, knocking on every door, and speaking to anyone who would listen. The world she entered was a legal labyrinth with cold corridors and emotionless procedures, but she braved it all because she believed her voice had the power to shatter the walls around her. The exterior of her journey was painted with stark realities. Courtrooms became her battlegrounds, each day bringing fresh waves of intimidation from those who wanted her silent. Rain-soaked streets mirrored the heaviness in her heart, yet she walked with her head high. The city's imposing buildings, with their stone faces and steel frames, stood as both obstacles and symbols of the justice she sought. Along the way, allies emerged in unexpected forms, people who had once doubted her but saw the strength she carried. The sights were often harsh, newspaper headlines twisted her story, strangers stared as she passed, and her name became a whispered cautionary tale. Still, she wrapped herself in resilience, wearing it like armor against the bitter cold of disbelief. Inside, her world was much smaller. The interior of her life became a place of constant reflection, where every memory was a reminder of why she had begun this fight. The walls of her small apartment seemed to close in some days, trapping her in a cycle of flashbacks and sleepless nights. Yet it was also within these walls that she found pockets of peace, sitting by a dim lamp, reading letters from those who supported her, or simply staring out the window as the sun rose, reminding her that a new day meant another chance to move forward. The details were simple: a desk stacked with files, a chair worn from long hours of research, and a single photograph that reminded her of the person she was before all of this began. Her performance throughout this battle was relentless. She became not just a victim seeking justice but a strategist, learning the rules of the system, anticipating the moves of those who opposed her. Every hearing was an opportunity to strengthen her case, every conversation a chance to uncover another piece of truth. Her ability to speak with clarity, to look her opponents in the eye without wavering, and to present her story without letting emotion overshadow fact made her a formidable force. Even when setbacks threatened to break her, she treated them as lessons, using them to sharpen her resolve. This performance was not about acting but about living with an unwavering commitment to her cause. Safety, for her, was a fragile thing. The threats came quietly at first: strange phone calls, anonymous letters, shadows lingering outside her home, but they soon became more direct. She learned to lock every door, to memorize escape routes, and to be cautious of every unfamiliar face. Yet her greatest safety feature was her own awareness. She trusted her instincts, kept her circle small, and made sure that those who truly cared for her knew where she was at all times. Despite the danger, she refused to let fear dictate her moves. She believed that safety was not just about avoiding harm but about standing in the open, unafraid to be seen. The unique selling points of her journey were the unexpected turns it took. She did not return from her quest carrying only the scars of battle. She came back with something far more profound, a life growing inside her. This was not part of the plan, and it carried with it a storm of emotions: confusion, grief, love, and an unshakable sense of responsibility. This new chapter forced her to look at justice in a different light, not just as a punishment for the guilty but as a foundation for the future she now had to build. The child became both a symbol of what had been taken from her and a reason to keep fighting for a world where such pain would not be repeated. Her story was no longer just about survival, it became about legacy, resilience, and the power to create something new out of unimaginable loss. In terms of price, what she paid could not be measured in money. She gave years of her life, countless nights of rest, and parts of herself she could never get back. She endured public judgment, personal heartbreak, and the slow erosion of the life she once knew. Yet, in a different way, she also gained a kind of wealth that no currency could buy: the respect of those who saw her fight, the love of people who truly understood her strength, and the inner peace that came from knowing she had not stayed silent. The cost was high, but the return was a truth that could not be erased. In the end, her conclusion was not a neat resolution tied with a bow. Justice was served in the way the law allowed, but life rarely hands out perfect endings. She emerged stronger, carrying both the weight of her scars and the promise of a future she was determined to shape. Her journey showed that seeking justice is not a path for the faint-hearted, it is a road lined with doubt, sacrifice, and the need to keep walking even when the horizon seems far away. And yet, she proved that it is possible to reach that horizon, not unbroken, but unbowed. She did not just survive the storm, she learned to build in its aftermath, turning her pain into power, and her loss into a reason to keep living with courage.